the last time I was presenting was in 3 years ago at your leading, so it's been a while. Well, no, the last time I presented was at Speaker Academy in 2020 or 21? 2020. Yeah. So if you don't like my presentations, please write an email to kier@speakeracademy.com. By the way, round of applause for Kier and Julia. They do this for fun, dedicating their time. All right, so it's 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me here. Today I'm going to be talking about CI/CD, the next steps, how to actually use it. Thank you, London's Calling, for organizing it. This is my first London's Calling, and I'm really enjoying it. I heard the food queue is really savage, but it was pretty fine this time. It was not that bad. So before I begin, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Ankit Taneja. I'm a freelance Salesforce professional. I currently work as a technical architect for a German SMB. And I'm at heart, I'm a programmer, but I pretty much do everything, admin, consulting. And now I'm moving into the architect because that's how you are evolving. I'm active in the ecosystem since 2012. I tried building 2 Salesforce companies, didn't go that successful. So if you have any ideas or if you want to talk about startups, I am very happy to discuss that as well. I also co-lead the Berlin SF Salesforce Architect Group. We are having our first meeting on 29th of June. So if you are around, please come join us. That'll be really nice. There's Daniel, Christian, me, Johan, Narendra, and maybe Melissa also. I also podcast about entrepreneurship on Forcepreneur. I realized that there was a huge gap in the ecosystem where nobody was talking about entrepreneurship in the ecosystem, so I did that. And I do a German podcast called Wir sind Dohana, so if you're German speaking or want to practice your German, you can listen to that, and we just talk about Salesforce. I wrote a course about freelancing on Salesforce Ben. If you want to read more about me, just go to ankittaneja.de. Safe harbor, this is not a Salesforce talk, but I have a really bad throat, so I might have to cough. I had tonsil infection, I just made it in time, so please bear with me if I have to cough. This talk is only 20 minutes, and we're talking about CI/CD, so I'm gonna go very super fast, but yeah. And lastly, this is not something how to set up CI/CD, so it's a little bit of advanced talk. Maybe some things are not making sense, but in the end they will. So let's get started. So why did I submit this talk? Well, recently for my client, I had to set up like a deployment pipeline, and I looked around, as you do, Google, and they were not, so for inspiration, not to copy paste. And I looked and I didn't find any talk or anywhere where it talked about what to do with CI/CD. Like there were a lot of talks which said, okay, this is Git, this is SFDX, this is how you bring them together, but what do you actually do with it? And I was working on this project and I was like, oh, this is how I am solving the problem. Maybe it's beneficial for people. And this is just one of the way of doing it. This is like how I did it. And it's here to inspire you. And by the way, the Ankit that submitted a talk 4 months ago is I'm very different to what I'm today because I went down a rabbit hole and it's a tough problem to solve. Like I didn't know how hard is Salesforce CI/CD and I'm still learning about it. What are we going to talk about? We'll just quickly go through why do we need a release process. We'll do a very brief intro into CI/CD. Then I'll quickly jump into the demo and into talk about proposed solution, give some final thoughts, and then take questions. I want this talk to be more like a conversation. So, it's not just like me telling you everything, but maybe we can also have some discussions. So quickly, a setup, like this is a typical scenario. It's Acme Technologies, 1,500 licenses, 1 architect, 2 developer, and a bunch of analysts. This is like a typical setup that you would have. So the question is, do we really need a release process? Like, do we really have to do it? Well, let's see what happens when we don't have a release process. So this is something that it looks like. Everybody has their own sandbox. Everybody's doing their own thing. everybody's deploying to production. Some people are also developing directly in prod, like, I have seen myself, people creating required fields or flows and just going with it. So if you don't have a release process, you're still working with chain sets, you kind of have trouble, or you might be overwriting changes. And when you're not working in sprints or anything, you are, like you don't know what's coming. So how many people don't have experience with CI/CD? Don't know what is CI/CD? Good crowd. Everybody knows what CI/CD. Good. So without a release process, things look very chaotic. Welcome CI and CD. CI is basically about writing code, building stuff, and then testing. So you are working in different environments. And continuous integration is about ensuring that what I'm working on and what my peers are working on, we can all integrate our stuff together. Continuous deployment is once you have tested that everything works fine, you go ahead and keep deploying it in different environments until you propagate that changes to the production branch. Cool? Until now, really good. And together they are called continuous delivery. So the real talk begins now. That was just like the intro part. So without a release process, this is what it looks like. It's very chaotic. And if we have a release process, then this is something, now it looks a little more orderly. On the right-hand side, you have the different environments. On the left-hand side, everybody's working on their feature branch. And for an example, a developer has their own sandbox or their own Git branch, and an admin maybe working directly in the sandbox, and they get their own feature branches, and then everything goes together into a CI branch, and then from there, the automation takes it up. For a setup is real simple. It's like you need VS Code. Today, I'm going to talk about Git. We are using Bitbucket. I'm not using GitHub Actions, but same but different. I'm going to use Docker containers. We use Docker containers for the latest Salesforce image, and then SFDX. Now it's time for the demo. So far, so good? Everybody good? Really good. So for the demo, now I only have 20 minutes, 6 are already gone. So I've shrunk the demo down to very small use case. I have a Shiny object. I have 2 custom fields. I have a Shiny class, a Shiny test class. I'm going to quickly jump into the Bitbucket YAML file. And unlike the CI and integration and staging, I just have staging branch and production branch because I want to speed things up because, yeah, time constraints. In the demo, we have 1 developer and 1 consultant, and both of them get their own kind of environment, branches, sandboxes. And the idea is that every sandbox or every branch is kind of 1 work packet. So you work on that feature and then you get rid of it. This is how this is every technical architect's dream, I would say, where everything is clean and aligned. And yeah, let's look at some code. I have the better MacBook, and I need to mirror it because otherwise I don't see what you see, and the displays don't work. So, cool. So here is the code. As I mentioned, now I'm on the main branch. It's a Shiny class, just very simple, 2 objects. Let's go into the pipeline. So this is the heart of every automation, like pipeline or GitHub Actions. As you can see, it starts with an image. Who has not seen a pipeline before? Very experienced crowd. Yeah, so this is a pipeline. You go into branches. So in the pipeline, you tell what should happen when something happens. This is like a universal, this is like a, what do you call it? Wildcard, where it's on every feature branch. Static analysis is going to run, so it's just going to do it's going to run all your code through PMD, and on every pull request, there's like a feature branch which is going to validate deployment. And what it does is it uses these 2 scripts called setup and package. What setup is basically doing is installing a package called SFDX Git Packager. By the way, shout out to Nimbus Ninja. I don't know who you know it, Charles Jonas. He created this package. And what this basically does is it creates kind of a delta. That's how we are doing it. So it takes 2 GitHub branches, compares them, and creates a delta package.xml that you can go ahead and then use this package and move it along your different environments. The others are simple, just merge, like nothing special about them. So yeah, so then you go ahead and validate the package. I've added a manual step just for, for right now, but you can also automate this. So you can connect both of these two steps, and then it goes ahead. It does the same thing. It just takes the package from here, what was created, and then deploy it over here. Simple as that. Deploying to production, again, it's very straightforward. It creates the package, and as soon as the package is done, it goes ahead and deploys it. I have hard-coded the test class in this because of the demo, but Charles actually wrote a hacky script where you can write the test to run in the pull request description, and then he kind of curls to the pull request description, gets the description, and like a nice regex. Too much for the demo. But you can do that. So you can write the tests in the pull request, and then it will just run that test. So this is how it looks like. This is the, let's say, these are the different branches. As I mentioned, main, feature 1, feature 2. Let me just see how much time I have. I don't know. Okay, so this is feature 1, feature 2. What I already did was, again, because of the time constraint that we had, I already ran some pipelines. So for those who don't know, here is a pipeline which was the PMD, which would fail. Just showing you how this will fail. Here are artifacts. If you go ahead and download it, it will say something was missing, like whatever PMD error it was. Here are custom Apex rules, which we just created so that, you can do it. So these are the custom rules that the PMD will be using, which is mentioned over here somewhere. Here, yeah. So what I basically did was, coming to the point, so developer and consultant, they were part of the sprint meeting, they went their own ways, and now the developer created like a new field C, which is a text field, required field, and he also updated the pull request, and I already merged the developer one's changes inside the main branch because I want to show you what happened. So the developer one created a new field, modified the test, created a new field, and modified the test because it's a required field. Now, the consultant on the other side was in her own world, and they went ahead and also made some changes. So, and they unfortunately also touched the same metadata. Does anyone know what happens when two people in different branches touch the same metadata? Yes. So if you want to automate something, if you would automate it, this is the problem that will come with automation. And like the pull request cannot be merged because now we have these merge conflicts because one is saying it's a text field, the other one is saying it's not a text field, and that causes the problem. Coming back to the code. One more time, sorry. Settings, mirror display. So that is a problem that can come with automation. Where is my mouse? Here. So that is a problem that can come with automation. Apart from that, when we built up this tool chain, we also got a lot of kickback because it said it's not very developer friendly, it's very developer unfriendly, like the consultants and everyone were like, why do we need to install Git and everything? If you have ever worked on a 90s Windows machine of a client and tried to install this tool chain, man, it takes time. It took 4 hours to just get like VS Code and Git sorted on like a 90s Windows IT system. And backsyncing is a pain. So if you have deployed something to production and bringing that to, now into other sandboxes, that is a problem. So how do we solve this problem, or what is my proposed solution, or how do you think we should do the next step? I think every release in Salesforce should have a release manager. If you are a very small org with one person, it's fine. But as soon as you are 2 or 3 people, you should get somebody who's responsible for this release. This can be a full-time job or a shared responsibility. There's a Salesforce customer in Berlin, billion-dollar company, 20 people. They have one person who's dedicated just for deployments. Like that's his job. This is better if there is preferably a experienced person. So it's like a developer. And the other proposed solution is use a third-party tool. So GearSet, Copado, Salto, there are many tools which are out there which are actually trying to solve this problem. Sample process, what I think how we work is basically, the developer and the consultant, they finish their task, they submit the task to the release manager, and then the release manager kind of takes it from there. They can use like a tool, GearSet, and then get all the changes, propagate them, and then pull all the changes without logging in, or they can also like sign up with VS Code, sign up to the org, and then get the changes in their local system and then push it. So if there was a release manager, how would that look like? I don't know how much time do I have. 55, I have time. I am in this branch, so let's quickly resolve the merge conflicts. I'm sorry. I need to mirror my screen again. Thank you. So to resolve the merge conflicts, now I'm in the git con branch. I will just do git pull. It's up to date. What was the next one? Yeah. So I will check out staging. No, I will not check out staging. Sorry. I will do git pull origin staging. So now it will show me that there are merge conflicts, and I can say that I want to accept the current change. So it's a decimal field, and then the test class, I want to get rid of it. How come it's staged? So resolve merge conflicts. So this is why you need to have like a release manager or someone who's responsible for the release, so that you can take care of, that person can take care of all these issues. If I go here, go to the pull request, it would ideally say, now it's done. If you go to the pipelines will now start doing it, and then they will validate and then deploy to the process. I'll come back, stop mirroring. So mouse pointer. So this will run in the background. And I'll quickly come to the end of the talk. So I think CI/CD is a very nice tool, and we can use pipelines. The idea is you should use some level of automation and some level of manual task, like you need to click at some points. I'm not talking like manually do something, but click, just click the deployment or initiate, so that if there are any problems, then you can do that. I'll break it down into logical steps, as I said, so validating deployment, not just build everything into one thing, and then kind of try to just, like the idea of this move fast, break things, I don't think it works, especially in Salesforce. I talked with Aiden about this, like the metadata and the source, like the source branch is not really the source of truth. It's debatable. We could talk about it outside, but yeah, there can be problems. So don't make it into one. And if you use CI/CD, it helps you, pipelines helps you catch bugs and maintain quality. Process is, you should also have some kind of process against you. So this is something that I definitely learned from the CI. You need to have some kind of process, and you need to have somebody responsible for it. Like there needs to be someone who has to do the whole deployment thingy. If you are a team of 2+, you definitely need a release manager. If you're not using any tool, then I find it very good if you do 3 weeks release cycles, and then at the end of third week, you just prune everything, you clean the branches, and you refresh your sandboxes, because otherwise you have this problem with propagating changes upstream and downstream. So those are actually my final thoughts. Like, building custom pipelines is a very, very hard problem. I tried doing it, but yeah, it was really, really hard. Propagating changes up and downstream, again, is very challenging if you like promote something to production. I know that DevOps Center is coming. I don't know what it is going to do. Maybe it's going to help. And use a tool. So we started using GearSet, and yeah, we are very happy with it. So I'm happy to say that, yeah, GearSet is pretty strong in what it does. And yeah, thanks to Charles Jonas, Daniel, Christian, and also other Christian for discussion, for Kier and Julia for helping me prepare this presentation. If you want to look at some tools, then it's SFDX Package Builder. It's a really nice Git package builder, which just takes 2 branches and makes a delta. GearSet, of course, Copado, Salto is there. And there's this new kill called Metecho. Has everyone tried it, heard it? Metecho? Yeah, it's like a new tool which is also there. Questions? Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about having to be in a sandbox.
Yeah.
How do you kind of suggest what's the best way of migrating their changes back into VCS?
Exactly. So that's the challenge that we had, where they were like, what is this Git? What is this VS Code? I don't want to do it. So use a tool. Use a third-party tool, or you can yourself log, there needs to be someone responsible for it. So in our case, we have this, and now the release manager, and now we have GearSet. So we just authorize to their org, get their changes, and then move it forward. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, please. Go ahead. I think this one has nothing to do with the unlocked packages. The package that I'm talking about, it just creates like a delta between 2 branches. I can show it to you. Yeah, it's just metadata deploy. So it deploys only this metadata. We are not doing packages. It just breaks it down into, let me show you. Fields required, no. So if you go in the artifacts, thank you. So mirror. So here is artifacts. If you download them, now the pop-up. So if you download these artifacts here, let's go to there. Unzip it. So this is what it looks like. It breaks it down into like classes. So this is what needs to be deployed. It breaks it down into metadata and like a package.xml file. And then when we do SFDX MD API deploy, then it just takes this package.
You
Go.
talked about it being quite difficult to set up a pipeline and all that kind of stuff. What is your advice to people looking to like sell this to senior stakeholders? So it's like, why are you doing this? Why should we invest the time in building it?
CI/CD.
Yeah. Like,
Especially.
How do you sell that opportunity?
So they came to me because we are like a team of 6 to 8 people, and everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and then you need some order to this chaos or madness, and not like everybody. And let's be honest, account, contact, cases, these are like the 3 opportunities. These are like the 4 core pillars, and everybody's kind of touching them. And if you don't have something like this, you will be overwriting changes. You will be breaking into each other's changes. You'll be breaking tests. Somebody created a required field. Somebody changed that required field. So when you have such a big distributed team and you have multiple projects going in parallel, then I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Have you used Azure pipelines?
I have not tried it. I've also not tried GitHub Actions, to be honest, too, but I've heard, like, I think it's the same principle. Have you worked with GitHub Actions? Aiden, have you worked with GitHub Actions? No? Anybody work with GitHub Actions? Is it same? Okay. Yeah.
What we noticed is that runs for about 60 minutes just to run all the tests because it's a big overwhelming. It makes our deployments quite rare because we can't react really quick and make changes as fast as
So let's see how long is it taking for this small one. So yeah, these pipelines are unpredictable. So one failed, but it took like this static analysis took 43 because it's just two classes, and something failed because of the deploy, but it took like 4 minutes, and it was just this package. Yeah.
But it didn't run all the tests in the order, right?
No, I just said one test. So even for one test, when it says 4 minutes, I don't know. Do you have a solution for this? Yeah. 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 So I also selected one test, and it's like taking 5 minutes. I don't know who's giving next talk. I'm out of time. We can also carry these discussions afterward. Thank you so much. It was lovely